Let's get right to it. 3 lessons from how to learn Python the hard way. 3 Python lessons. Lesson 1, printing from exercise 9. This is exercise 9. An octothorpe here means whatever you type after it will not go into the program. You'll only be able to see it while you're debugging it by looking at it in a text editor. Days and months. These are variables. The equal sign after the variables means assign this, and in this case it's a string with these double quotes. Assign everything inside this string to this variable. When you use this variable later, like here, the program is going to use this. Same for months. In months, this string, he has the escape sequence \n. This will not display in the console when you run this program. Instead, it will add a new line after January, after February, after March. Every time you see a \n, it will make a new line before going to the part after it. Here's the print command. Type in the word print, and then in this case he's going to print a string, and he's going to print this variable, but it's not going to print the word days. It's going to print the value that we assigned to the variable. It's going to print this. This is what it's going to look like. See, it prints the days of the week, then it prints the months with the new line after each month. It does not print the quotes because these quotes just tell Python, they tell the program, this is a string. Print what's inside these quotes. If you wanted to print quotes, you would have to use like a single quote to enclose the string. I'm going to save this and then run it again. Now you have quotes. Just the quotes without anything else. The double quotes or single quotes just tells Python this is a string. So next we have triple quotes. This will print everything between the beginning triple quotes and the end triple quotes. You could print an entire book if you wanted to. There's no limit. Notepad++ does this neat thing where it says all this is together in this little bar right here. We'll see this again later when we use tabs and white space to do functions. Let's see. Use a variable. Oh yeah, the reason you want to use days and define days is because if you had a program where you wanted to print all the days of the week over and over again, it would really stink to have to type in every single day of the week if you had to print it 10 different ways or for 10 different instances. Instead, you can just type in the variable name days, because days equals the days. Equals is our friend. Yes. Okay. Lesson 2. I liked this one because it finally, you got to do something in the console besides just run a file, besides run the program. Actually get some input from the user. This is example 11. We use raw input for the first time. First we have print to the console. How old are you? It asks the user a question, and then it asks for raw input from the user and assigns whatever the user types in to the variable age. It does this again for height, and it does it again for weight. Raw input means it's going to ask this question. Let me go ahead and open it so you can see what it looks like. Python example 11.py. How old am I? Actually, first I'm gonna, oh, well, I typed in clear. It's gonna say that I am clear old. How tall am I? And the reason here, raw input, and it uses the format sequence %R is because it could also do %S, but you don't want to do %D because what if I want to say I am 5'3" and then weigh, let's say I want to say not very much. Instead of doing a number, if we knew the user had to put in a number, you could do %D instead of %R. You could also do %S, but he covers that in the next lesson, I think. So raw input. And so it's going to print this with the format sequence, %R, 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 the format within this string. This means in the string before this %, we have format sequences, and we want to insert these variables in order into the format sequences, so that instead of printing %R, it's actually going to print age, which is raw input from the user, whatever you typed in. In this case, I typed clear, so I am clear old. That doesn't sound very old at all. Now I'm going to clear my screen because I don't like looking at everything at the very bottom. Let's see. Print the new string. Yep. Now, exercise 21. Returning functions. Well, first defining functions, then returning the values back into the program for it to use later. And then it does math. Okay. Example 21. This DEF, define, it's going to define and make a new function. We're going to call this function add. The function is going to have two, what's that called? Parameters, I guess. So, and this is white space. You tab to keep all this stuff within this function that you're creating. This is how it separates it from the rest of the program and from other functions. So we want the function add to do this, to print these words, adding %D and %D. We want numbers here because you can't add letters. And then, of course, the format sequence %D. We want these to be filled in with A and B. A and B is going to be, it's just a variable name again, and we're going to give the variables, sorry about that. I didn't realize the power strip for my laptop was not on and my battery was going to die. Okay. Variables within the functions, A and B. These are our variables within the function. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. So first we just create these 4 functions. Next, this is just for the user to see. In this case, let's run this and see what it looks like. That's example 21. 21. Okay. So here we're going to use these are new variables: age, height, weight, IQ. We want to assign these variables to use these functions that we created up here, and these for the values in the place of A and B. A and B is just sort of a placeholder so that you can type in whatever you want later. We do the same for height, new variable, new variable, new variable, using these functions. Then we have all these format sequences, %D, 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 %D. It's going to print the results of age, height, weight, IQ. Age, height, weight, IQ. It's going to print the results of these you get the results here. You have 30 and 5. You have to go back here to age or to add to see what it's going to do with that 30 and the 5. So it'll take the values we put in for A and B, which is 30 and 5. It's going to say this. And then it's going to send that 30 plus 5 back into Python so we can store it, because it's going to use it again down here. And in this puzzle, it just goes from the inside out. We have a new value here, which takes IQ, which you got up here, which I guess is 50. That's too bad. Then you're going to divide, and then you're going to go from the inside out. The main thing here is about defining a new function, giving the function a name. So you define function name, arguments that the function is going to take. I think I called them parameters. You should really call them arguments. It's going to have 2 arguments for this function to work. It means if you just type in one value, it's not going to do anything, because it's just gonna, what would it do, I wonder? Let's see. What if I say add is just 30? I'm going to try to run it again. It takes 2 arguments. See, the add function takes exactly 2 arguments, and I only gave 1. So it's not going to work. So let's put that second argument back in. And it'll work again. 30 plus 5. Okay. I think I covered everything I meant to cover. Let's go back to my PowerPoint. Using define. Oops. Use define. Use white space to create a function. Returning values to Python. It's really hard to explain. At first I thought it meant it would be returning them to me. You can take them back from Python and return them to the user by doing something like this, where it'll print age, height, weight, IQ, because it'll do these and return. And anyway, that's my lesson. I hope I did okay. This is the first video I've ever recorded. I kid you not. I'm dressed in business casual from the waist up anyway, because you can't see anything else anyway. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you for watching.